Debt often feels louder than our goals, tugging at the margins of daily life. In this video you will discover practical, psychology-informed habits that reduce debt without sacrificing your long-term well-being. We start by acknowledging the emotional side of debt. Debt is not merely a math problem, it is a signal about priorities, constraints, and the stories we tell ourselves about money. When you understand that debt sits at the intersection of emotion and behavior, you gain room to act with intention rather than impulse. The first step is to name the debt clearly. List all balances, interest rates, minimum payments, and due dates. Put this on a single page and update it weekly. This creates a concrete map that reduces anxiety and anchors every other habit on solid data. Next, set a small, meaningful goal that keeps you motivated. It could be cutting one recurring expense, adding a modest weekly payment, or eliminating an annual fee. The goal should be specific, measurable, and time-bound so you can track progress and celebrate momentum. Debt is often stubborn because it hides behind habits that feel efficient in the moment. But small, consistent adjustments compound over time. The psychology here matters. When your actions align with a defined goal, your brain rewards you with a sense of control rather than overwhelm. Now we compare two popular repayment strategies, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. The snowball payoff order starts with the smallest balance, aiming for quick wins and momentum. The avalanche targets the highest interest rate first, which minimizes long-term cost. Neither approach guarantees instant results or perfection. The right choice depends on your psychology, your budget, and your willingness to stay the course. The key is consistency, not perfection. Let's build a practical budget that supports debt reduction. Start with essential expenses like housing, utilities, groceries, and transport. Then set aside a fixed amount for debt payoff before discretionary spending. A simple rule of thumb is to allocate a minimum debt payment that matches the required amount plus a dedicated extra payment whenever possible. This creates a steady win that pushes your balances lower over time. Now we turn to habit stacking, a powerful technique for consistency. Pair a new debt habit with an existing routine. For example, review your budget every Sunday after coffee or start a weekly debt check-in before grocery shopping. Habit stacking relies on location and cues. If you always sit at the kitchen table to manage money, that becomes the mental trigger for your weekly review. Small, repeatable cues are the oxygen of habit formation. The next habit is automation. Automate minimum payments and, when possible, set up automatic extra payments aligned with your pay cycle. Automation reduces the friction that leads to late payments and higher interest. Automations also reduce decision fatigue. By removing the need to remember due dates, you free cognitive bandwidth for strategic choices about your spending and saving. A practical example helps here. Suppose you have a credit card balance of $5,000 at a 20% annual percentage rate. If you make a routine extra payment of $50 monthly, you shave off interest and reduce the principal steadily. If your budget allows, automate a larger payment whenever you receive a paycheck or a side income. A modest automatic boost each month compounds into meaningful payoff over time without requiring heroic willpower. Alongside automation, consider negotiating rates or negotiating a plan with lenders. A phone conversation or a written request can yield lower interest, waived fees, or extended repayment terms. Prepare before you call. Review your payment history, current terms, and any offers you've seen from competitors. Be calm, specific, and collaborative, framing the conversation around your plan to repay. Preparation matters because lenders respond to reliability and clarity. Demonstrating consistent payments and a reasonable payoff timeline increases the likelihood of a favorable adjustment. Another practical habit is expense trimming with care. Track discretionary spending for a month to identify small leaks. A single reusable habit can eliminate several dollars daily without feeling deprived. For example, a modest daily coffee habit or dining out once per week can be redirected toward debt payoff. The goal is not perfection but a discernible pattern of intentional choices. Spending triggers deserve attention. When you crave a quick escape through a purchase, pause and write down the emotion behind the urge. Acknowledge the feeling and choose a deliberate alternative activity. A simple alternative is a 24-hour pause before any non-essential purchase. If you still want the item after the pause, evaluate its true value and impact on your debt trajectory. As you reduce day-to-day expenses, consider increasing income in practical ways. A few hours weekly of freelance work, a side gig, or selling unused items can fund debt payments without draining energy from core life roles. The revenue increase doesn't have to be dramatic to matter. Small, reliable additions accumulate and can accelerate your payoff timeline while preserving your life balance. A hidden strength in debt reduction is maintaining an identity as someone who manages money on purpose. This mindset reduces relapse by aligning actions with a value you want to uphold. To strengthen that identity, write a short personal statement. I am someone who keeps promises to myself about money, who negotiates fairly, and who values long-term stability over instant gratification. Consistency isn't about never slipping, it's about returning to the plan after small missteps. When you normalize slip-ups as part of the process, you keep moving forward rather than giving up. Relapse can look like abandoning the plan after a single holiday or splurge. The antidote is a quick reset, recheck the balances, adjust the budget, and set a new weekly target that fits your current reality. Tracking progress with a simple dashboard helps sustain motivation. A debt balance, total payments, and progress toward the payoff goal create a clear narrative of improvement you can see. Celebrate the small wins. Paying off a mid-sized balance, trimming a recurring fee, or hitting a weekly savings target deserves recognition because it reinforces the habit loop. But avoid over-reliance on external validation. The person you're competing with is your past self, not others. Your aim is steadier control, not spectacular comparisons. Let's summarize the practical steps you can implement this week. Start by listing all debts with balances and rates in one place. This creates a baseline you can act from. Choose a payoff strategy that fits your motivation, snowball for momentum or avalanche for cost-effectiveness. Commit to a minimum extra payment each month to build momentum. Set up automatic payments for all minimums and schedule an automatic extra payment if possible. Tie the timing to your pay cycle to simplify execution. Build a simple budget that preserves essentials and enables debt payoff. Track discretionary spending for a month to identify convertible dollars that can flow toward debt. Experiment with habit stacking by attaching a weekly debt review to a fixed routine like Sunday coffee or Monday morning planning. Small, predictable cues drive consistency. Trim expenses thoughtfully, focusing on recurring fees first and then non-essential purchases. Redirect savings to principal reduction rather than toward new consumption. Explore ethical ways to increase income. Even small side gigs, such as cataloging or tutoring, can provide steady extra payments that compound over months. Prepare for negotiations by gathering data on current terms and comparable offers. A calm, factual conversation frequently yields more favorable outcomes than pressure or blame. Maintain your plan with periodic check-ins. Review balances, payments made, and changes in income or expenses. Adjust targets to reflect real life while staying committed to payoff. Finally, cultivate a long-term maintenance mindset. Debt reduction is not a one-time sprint but a sustainable habit that supports future financial goals, resilience, and greater freedom. You can begin today with a modest, concrete plan that respects your life balance. The path is practical, not magical, and progress compounds even when the pace feels small. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate all debt instantly but to create reliable patterns that steadily reduce the balance while improving overall well-being and financial confidence. If you found this framework helpful, you can tailor it to your circumstances. Your priorities, income, and resources determine the exact steps you take, but the underlying habits stay the same. As you implement these practices, you'll notice a shift in mindset. Debt becomes a problem you actively solve rather than an external force you fear. If you're listening for a final takeaway, here it is: start small, stay consistent, measure what matters, and adjust with care. Small, deliberate actions accumulate into meaningful change over time. This journey is about reclaiming control and building a future you're excited to live. With clear steps, patience, and persistence, debt payoff becomes a reachable, sustainable outcome. In closing, adopt one new habit this week and reinforce it next week. Over months, those habits converge into a robust system that supports ongoing financial health and peace of mind. More examples can anchor these ideas in daily life. You might call your card issuer to request a small APR reduction and a minor payment adjustment, then direct the monthly savings toward principal. You could pick up weekend tutoring hours and channel half of that income into debt while keeping the rest for emergencies. Another option is to round up every debt payment to the nearest $5 and treat the extra as a fixed habit. Cancel a non-essential subscription and redirect $10 or $20 toward the highest interest balance. Practical steps begin with a simple rhythm: audit, decide, automate. Audit first, list all balances, rates, minimums, due dates, and fees on a single page you refresh weekly. Decide next, pick a payoff path that fits your motivation, snowball or avalanche, and set a realistic monthly extra. Automate, arrange for minimum payments and any possible extra payments timed to your pay cycle. Then schedule a weekly check-in, 15 to 20 minutes, to compare spending and adjust targets. Look for small windfalls you can funnel toward debt without disrupting essentials. Common mistakes to avoid include trying to overhaul behavior too quickly and burning out, neglecting an emergency fund, or not updating the plan after changes in income. Another trap is chasing the latest payoff method without data, or letting guilt derail you after a misstep. Don't neglect high-priority items like high-interest loans in favor of quick wins. And avoid comparing yourself to others, measure progress against your own baseline and targets. Closing recap: clarity, consistency, and flexibility. Know what you owe, make regular payments, review the plan, and adjust as life changes. Start with one concrete step today, celebrate small wins, and build an identity of someone who handles money on purpose. With patience, the path becomes clearer, the debt lighter, and your future more secure.